Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Lawler here. As always, we got our 6th and final open for the EU region all wrapped up. We know our team's going to Raleigh. Who's going to be competing for the World Championship, except for the tiebreaker that may happen. Pretty crazy stuff across the board. We had, obviously, our top 16, if you guys want to take a peek. K-Corp, Mates, Vitality, BSK, Dig, Caliente, GK, Fast Forward, Chippy Chips, Dopamine, Synergy, NIP, 100%. Los Leonos de Montepinar, that is the former JJ Rocks roster. ATM and BDS. A lot of familiar faces and a couple making it back, like BDS, but for the most part, same old, same old. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down what went down in our different groups for the top 16, what that means for the major, what the tiebreaker scenarios were, big narratives, and all that stuff. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on these things in the future, make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, notifications, helps me out greatly. But we're going to jump into the groups and stuff. Also, plans for this week as a reminder, and I'll remind you guys at the end of the video. We're going to be talking about last chance qualifiers. There's been a ton of you asking me, how do last chance qualifiers work? What's the situation? How do they play out? It's pretty important with Raleigh on the line. We'll also go over the 1v1 open that's going down as well. Teams that are going to be competing. We got one NA rep and one MENA rep that are going to be competing in Raleigh as well. So a lot of things to get you guys up and ready for Raleigh as the weeks go on. So with that said, let's start with Group A. We had 16 teams, 8 in each, and I've been talking about this narrative a little bit. It feels like things are getting pretty predictable in RLCS. I think out of our predictions, we got all but like 1 or 2 wrong, or we got all but 1 or 2 right. So we only had like 2 wrong, and the ones that we got wrong were like the lower bracket matches against like 2 somewhat similar teams. Outside of that, we crushed it. It's unfortunate because while it's a good thing for business and it's good for viewership purposes, it's like, hey, my favorite team is winning and doing the thing. It also becomes very predictable and kind of boring, if you ask me. Like, I don't know if it was. I streamed every match. I watched all matches this weekend, and I was kind of snoozing. Like, we knew what was going to happen. What we predicted to happen happened. And it's just kind of like, there was moments within the series, but overall, I just felt kind of like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected. There was no surprises. There was no, which in its own right is good, I guess. So who knows? That being said, Group A, Vitality 6-0. Obviously doesn't tell the full story. Still a little sloppy at times. Vitality, I talked about how their stocks are starting to go down for me, and Mate's stocks are starting to go up, and that persisted. Despite the 6-0, they do make it guaranteed top 6, puts them in a really good position for the major. Coming into this, the only 2 teams that were guaranteed were K-Corp and Dignitas. The battle was between Vitality, NIP, GK, and Mates. So you have 4 teams fighting for 2 spots. Vitality obviously had the biggest advantage, but everybody else behind that was kind of in a weird situation. I'll also make sure to break that down by the end of the video. Outside of that, we talked about GK and NIP in my predictions. If you guys watched last week Thursday, I talked about how I expected NIP to win here, but then concede later on in the bracket. They do reseed now when going into top 8 based upon initial seeding to make sure that you don't have top teams knocking each other out, which is very good, because otherwise you would have like 2 top 6 contenders playing each other rather than them playing opposite, where like a top 6 should be playing a 7-8 seed, and then number 5 should also be playing a 7-8 seed rather than playing each other. So it works out a lot better this time, which is important for like GK and IP, because otherwise they would have had to play each other. So with that in mind, NIP does win as expected, because we do know they are fully capable of going and winning against the big teams. But an interesting stat, NIP is now 0-7 against other top 6 teams in bracket play. So when it comes to the final top 8, when it comes to single elimination, they are 0-7 against teams that would separate them between making a top 2 or a top 4 versus ending top 6 or top 8. It's a big problem. Further on that stat, when NAS was on M80, despite being the high seed every time, 0-5. Gibbs talked about it on stream as well. Something's got to change. Like, you need to perform in those moments. You've now had 2 seasons to do it. You have been on objectively solid rosters. What's the situation? Got to improve. LCQs are going to be pretty cutthroat, and it is going to be more pressure. But when you're in the spotlight, you haven't been there. NIP's got some things to consider. I will say Oski is kind of the big standout. He has been one, similar to Xenon Vitality, trying to push his team and wheel them to a further placement. It was good to see BDS back, the young guns, but they do fall short to veteran status of Synergy. And then Caliente actually pushes through Los Leones, the JJ Rocks roster, before ultimately falling to BSK. BSK is good, dude. I don't know what to tell you guys. BSK is a very solid team. Pisky continues to do his job as the unsung hero. Rusteezy is creative beyond all belief. Does a really good job of playing setup and creativity to give something a different look. And Mozzarella is talented as heck. So BSK, I would not be surprised if some of those boys get poached. I would not be surprised if even a Vitality maybe in the future goes, hey, Exotic, bye-bye. We're bringing in Monts. We're bringing in Rust. Next French man up. I would not be surprised if that potentially happens in the future. Crazy stuff. In Group B, though, things as expected as well. The high seeds, both Dig and K-Corp, solidify themselves. My real question here, before I really start rating Dig highly in my power rankings, which will be coming later this week, can Dig solidify themselves as a team that is not going to falter in those matches? They go perfect 6-0, and they do it as well against mates. Great series, by the way. Very low scoring in the grand scheme of things, but super competitive from the mates, which is exciting to see at all times. But Dignitas has really secured themselves as the number 2 in EU for me. They have won the matches that they need to. They have provided stability. They are consistent in their results again. Stizzy is really coming into his own. Yoris has had a bigger and bigger impact, and Jack continues to be Jack. So Dignitas looks very threatening. Can they do it on land, though? There's a lot of question marks around that team on land. But so far, Dignitas looking like a good number 2. And fast forward, obviously, dominant as ever. Them losing, I think, just put them on a warpath. I don't foresee. I'm kind of excited to see K-Corp go in as, the clear number 1, no questions asked. We are the best. You got to play catch up at the major. I think it's more pressure on them. And it also makes for a really exciting time. Outside of that, Dopamine put up a decent fight against the fast forward, the gatekeeper team of the century. But eventually it is 100% that does make it out. 100% really rough start, but is able to go 3-0, 3-0 on 2 teams after going 0-2 last week. So good for 100% to make it back into the top 8. And mates, no questions there. Was not surprised that they ended up making it just a tougher matchup up above. So we do get our top 8. I think this is the only spot that was up for debate on who is that 8th team. If I was doing rankings, I think it's kind of difficult to find out who the 8th place team is because it does swap between teams like Synergy, Dopamine at times, 100%. It varies. Sometimes even ATM. But primarily, I think 100% has shown that they are capable, even with the roster change. So it's kind of where we're at. Our top 8 made it through. No surprises at all. Everything looking exactly as we expected. What does that mean for the playoffs? K-Corp Vitality, a tough one for Vitality to start playing against the best team. And they got exposed. K-Corp absolutely dominated. They held them to only 4 goals across all those games and put up quite a few. Raleigh continues to be him. Tao had an absolutely killer game. He had 100 demos plus this weekend, which is one of 3 people to ever do it or something like that. Crazy. But yeah, K-Corp looks really, 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 really good. Also, someone said and did a breakdown of K-Corp's defense is incredible, which it is. And then Vatira put up 100 billion goals. So K-Corp can do it all. They're the best. On the other side, Dignitas NIP, Dig solidifying that they are that team. Very close series though. NIP had numerous times where they were up 2-0 and then would throw the game. And it's the most infuriating shit to watch. I don't know what it is about NIP. They have leads. They're competitive. But as soon as the final minute of the game shows, they're like, oopsie. And then they just give up goals for no reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just take their foot off the gas because they have a lead and they're trying not to make mistakes, which just forces them to play less aggressive. I haven't done a deep dive on it. I just know it's frustrating to watch them play in high pressure moments. It drives me absolutely nuts. So NIP could have won the series. NIP definitely could have won the series. All 1-goal games, all within striking distance. And they just don't. I don't get it. It's so frustrating. So yeah, they concede. Like I said in my predictions, I expect them to win in Swiss, but lose in bracket play in the playoffs. That brings us then to our lower bracket and a little bit of recreation. K-Corp does get their revenge on Dignitas in the grand finals. A 4-0 sweep, and they look dang good looking when they do it. Dig did put up a fight, though. 2 OTs, 1-goal games across the board. Very good series, but K-Corp in control like 99% of the time. Dig had a couple good offensive moments, but primarily K-Corp did not look stressed or pressured. Obviously, before we got there, the big one that was important is GK and Mates on opposite sides kept the tiebreakers alive. Because at this point, we have now seen, with Vitality winning this series as well, that they've secured their spot. So the battle was between GK, NIP, and Mates. This match went down first, so Mates did end up beating NIP, which means, hey, if Vitality concede to GK, it is then a battle between GK and Mates. And Vitality basically has a tiebreaker waiting for them for whoever concedes or loses. That didn't end up happening because Vitality beat GK and Mates beats NIP. Everything in the top four, it's the top four teams in EU, as it should be, and it has been historically throughout this year and last year. But the top four teams are the ones making it top four in the bracket. The format is working the way it is supposed to, which is a good thing. You're seeing the best teams face off against each other. You're seeing consistency. All those things are very, very good for the esport. Albeit a little boring, it is good to see the top teams doing what they're supposed to be doing. It sets expectations, it builds hype and drama, and upsets then mean more. BSK is a good team. I think they just lose out. This series in particular, Mates, I feel like mentally came in and was just along the lines of like, you know what? We're the better team. We know we're the better team. We're more experienced. Just don't make mistakes. Which means they played a little slow. And BSK took it to them. And then they're like, hey guys, we should probably just play the way that we want to play. Let's play a little bit more risky, but we got to put on pace. We got to play aggressive. They did that, and then it was extremely one-sided. This series, again, very frustrating. A lot of OTs, a lot of close matches, but when the going gets tough and when things are on the line, there is one certainty in life, and it is NIP is not going to be the one to win it. They conceded 4 OTs. And they're all within 30 seconds. Infuriating watching that team. They are NA's Shopify Rebellion. You watch them, you have expectations of them, there's reasons for them to be doing good, but then they just don't do it. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Frustrating. GK did put up a decent fight against Vitality, and even with Vitality still faltering, to me, they're still a clear number 3 in the region. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4 is very, very easy to predict in EU with K-Corp, Dig, then Vitality, then Mates. But I think Mates is starting to get... I'm very excited to watch that team. They play really clean Rocket League. Decision making is great. Challenge game is smart. I expect Mates to put up a pretty good fight in Raleigh. Should be fun. With that in mind, what does that mean for the major? What does that mean for the results? What does that mean for everything else? We do have all 16 teams rocked and ready to go for Raleigh. We have everybody solidified. K-Corp, Dig, Vitality, Mates, Energy, Space Station, Genji, Ultimates, Wildcard, and TSM. Crazy for them to make it. Furia and Team Secret. No surprises. Falcons and Twisted Minds. No surprise. Virtus Pro. If you guys don't know Virtus Pro, it's the former LG team. LG pulled get out of jail free card. Let's make a bunch of money and then peace out. And then you guys obviously all know Foot. So a lot of familiar faces. I would say this is the true best 16 going to the major. I think these are the best teams, the best rosters that are going to put up the best fight and give us the best competition. I said best too many times. But that's what we've got. As a quick update as well, 1v1s went down this weekend as well. North America and everybody and Mina are trying to find their ones. I'm not going to put too much time into that because they do go down on Friday. If you guys would like me to talk more about 1v1s in detail in a future video, let me know down below. But you've got two regions primarily, all fighting to send and find who's the best player who will then go compete at Raleigh in a 1v1. They did the same thing where Moxie ended up taking it against Yan. But we're going to probably have like a Diaz or a Wavy or something to that degree playing against Rawas, Clears, Alpo, who knows. So if you guys would like a detailed video on that, if you guys would like me to break that down, let me know. But that is going to do it for today's video. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications, hit me up on the socials. Links to everything in the description down below. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Got a phone call from my buddy, told me, miss you, man, now hit me back, homie. Just us need a bag, homie.